As developers, we all know the importance of monitoring our app's performance and user behavior. And with Embrace's Flutter SDK, you can do just that. Their SDK offers deep insights into your app's performance metrics, such as startup time, network requests, and provides actionable recommendations for optimization. But what sets Embrace apart is their focus on user experience. With their SDK, you can track user sessions and quickly diagnose any issues affecting your users. Plus, with its easy integration, you can start monitoring your app's performance in minutes. So if you're a Flutter developer and you're looking to optimize your app's performance and improve your user experience, head on over to Embrace and check out their new Flutter SDK. You'll gain valuable insights into your app's performance and be able to make data-driven decisions to improve your app. Visit get.embRCE.io/FHF/today to sign up for a free trial and learn more about their Flutter SDK and start optimizing your app's performance. Hello, welcome to the episode of Flying High with Flutter. I'm your host, Alan Wyma. Today I'm with Ankit Mahato. He is the CEO, I believe he wrote that over here. CEO, is that right?
CTO, yeah, co-founder. You can just say co-founder.
Oh, sorry. I thought I saw CEO over here, but it was co-founder.
Yeah,
The C's
co-founder.
messed me up. Co-founder of API Dash, which is, I guess I would say it's like
Missing API client for Flutter developers.
well, it's like a Postman basically.
Yeah.
So it's a Flutter desktop app, like a Postman, and it generates Dart code for you. I'm really impressed. The reason I really like this one is because it reminds me of an app I actually use every day. It used to be called Paw. Have you ever heard of Paw before?
Yeah, I've used it before.
Yeah, it looks a lot like Paw. That's why I was very attracted to it.
Yeah.
So Paw was recently, I think it was bought. So Paw, it's Paw PAW. It was recently bought by
Rapid API.
Rapid API. Yeah, exactly. You're already caught up.
Yeah,
Do
they
you miss
rebranded
Paw?
it to Rapid API. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've used it once. It is not that, I don't like it that much. There are some limitations, so that's why.
So what is your major inspiration for this? Is it because people always use Postman? So I'm guessing that must be a huge part of it. No.
So so the major thing is that as a Flutter developer, I worked extensively with APIs. So, and a constant problem that I had was to visualize the APIs. Like for example, you say an audio API or a video API. The results that they give back, most of these API clients, they actually throw a binary garbage value. They are not meant for like visualizing stuff or just exploring, playing around with APIs and testing it out, that okay, this is the API which gives me a good or correct answer, and now let's go ahead and integrate it with my Flutter app. So the first challenge was actually the visualization part. So many of these API clients, they lack that part. They are like mostly for JSON, XML, for visualizing data kind of APIs, not for new age APIs like AI or this basically video, audio, and multimedia APIs. So that was one of the major challenges, that when I was trying to integrate these kinds of API in my app, this was a problem that I was facing, that there was no API client which was dealing with this kind of problem. And I felt that my fellow Flutter devs might be having some same problems. And also another thing was like for example, the API client you mentioned, PAW, the Rapid API one. These API clients, they do not support Dart code generation, or and if they do, it is very like kind of shitty. The code that is generated is very template kind of code, and it is not where you know that the developer who has developed these extensions for code generation, first of all, most of them are not official extensions, and if developer has developed that extension, he is not that familiar with Dart, or say for what are the needs of a Flutter developer to integrate the API. So these were one of the major challenges that I was facing while developing my app. And then I talked to my fellow co-founder Ashita. So she has developed Flutter Gems. If you have heard it before, Flutter Gems is a curated package guide for Flutter ecosystem. People love that Flutter Gems too. They go there and they find the packages based on categories. So she talked to her community members, fellow Flutter developers, and they were also facing the same problem. So we thought that why not let's build an API client together, which is geared towards Flutter app developers, where they can easily test, explore multimedia APIs, new age APIs, along with traditional APIs, and also generate Flutter code or Dart code at the same time and quickly integrate in their Flutter apps. So to help them out to ease this process. So we just brainstormed, and why not build it with Flutter, because we are familiar with it and nobody has done it before with Flutter. So that was a thing that we took and we built it with Flutter. We got the prototype running in 2 days and also released the first version in like 3 weeks. So we got that up and running, and we received a lot of feedback from fellow developers. They loved it. We have some new feature requests, and yeah, the best part was that we also open sourced it so that people can actually try it out. They can easily benefit from it and they can contribute back to it. So that was one of the major basically motivation to build API Dash.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like the idea of using Flutter to do this kind of stuff, but I'm not too sure about. I mean, the ecosystem for this, I think, is quite, what's the word for it? It's quite saturated, right? There's always so many different API clients. So you're saying like the main reason somebody would want to use yours over say Postman or something else would be because it's really more Dart focused, right?
More like front end focus. Like for example, if you take Postman or any other API client, they generate. They are like they first of all they many of them do not generate Dart code, and they the major point is that they don't basically generate codes which can be directly integrated to the framework. For example, they are not generating Flutter code at all. The number one problem was that, but another major problem was that they do not give API result visualization. That is the major challenge that we are targeting. Most of them are geared towards testing APIs, like automated testing of APIs, but more geared towards testing JSON APIs. The result that they fetch is mostly JSON or XML, and then they run. Basically, people can run tests to validate, okay, whether or not they are getting the right results. But it is not geared towards visualizing the results. For example, if you are calling a generative AI API, the result that you get, if you put it in any API client, barring from a few, you will just get a binary value. What will I do with that value if I cannot see the AI art that was generated by the API? That was one of the major challenges. Like you cannot explore or play around with APIs very well, and the second was that you cannot generate the Flutter code or framework specific code to actually directly use that API in your app. Yeah. So we are attacking the problem from the user end. Mostly these are attacking the problem from the enterprise end, where they need automated testing solutions for their for APIs, for public APIs or their own internal APIs. But we are attacking the problem from the user end. What a Flutter developer or a user needs to basically seamlessly reduce his time for basically integrating an API into the end Flutter app.
Okay, I'm just taking a look at this one. So you've pasted. Well, it doesn't generate Flutter code, right? It only generates Dart code. Is that the right?
Yeah,
Okay.
right now we are working on the Flutter code also. Right now, we started off with Dart code. We are moving into Flutter code. Yeah,
Well, if you're creating a Flutter code, I mean, Flutter code is quite specific to your app, right? Not everybody's going to be using, say, even the image widget, and there's more than one way to construct an image, or one way to use the image widget. There's different constructors. So, how would you actually integrate this new feature in? Because it's with Flutter so customizable.
yeah. So it is customizable. So we will be giving those options. So people by default there will be a default preset, but people can modify those options and actually generate a specific code. Now the code generation module is separate. So now if you say that it is only for Flutter, then the thing is that if I'm for example a JavaScript developer, I can just modify the code generation module to generate a JavaScript code. So we are building it in a modular way so that it is easily customizable and you can add more languages or more frameworks or anything. But right now our focus is, first we started off with Dart code, and then now we are moving to Flutter code. So we are generating Flutter code, and it will ask for some, it will have some presets, but then it will also give users a way to actually, we are figuring right now working on that way, so to select how they want to integrate. For example, let's say a very basic example, let's say API returns a JSON result. Now there are multiple ways you want to integrate that result in the end Flutter app. You can do it directly through a JSON view, which is like a tree map. You can click on the tree map and you can view, or you can actually view the JSON result if it is an array of basically dictionaries as a data table. You want each record of that array, JSON record of an array is actually a row of the data table, like a record. So there are multiple ways. We are right now jotting out those ways and how we can allow users to actually customize that part.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I like the ideas.
So right now, if the user he wanted to get data from for example, he gets a JSON result, he will now have to write that if there is no API dash, he will have to now write a code to figure out how to display that data in a tabular form, say, or as a JSON tree view. But through API dash, he can easily like select the way in which he wants to integrate that API, and then corresponding Flutter code he can directly use it in his app. Obviously, that will require some more customization based on the end app styling. But the thing is that that amount of time has been cut short now significantly to figure out how to integrate that API in the app.
Now, I'm kind of curious though. I do like the idea that you're expanding into more languages, or at least that you're definitely looking at that. I mean, have you? You guys are looking at that now, right? But you haven't tried to add another language yet.
Not right now. That is not our focus right now. Our focus is first to basically build what the problem we are facing why as Flutter app developers. So first we'll focus on Flutter app developers. Then that because we need to figure out ways to actually ease the process of integrating APIs for a Flutter app. So that's our core focus right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just. I'm sorry. I'm just so caught up on that because that'd be really nice to do. And if there's a way that you can do it, not have to like write dark code and recompile, that'd be awesome. But I don't know how the heck you
Yeah.
do that. It's a really big endeavor to do if you can do something like that. You're laughing because you're working on that, so people can just like load a plugin and it just kind of works. Yeah, that would be interesting. I'd love to see how that's going. But so you're using the Jinja package
Yeah. Right now I'm using the Jinja
now.
package. Yeah.
Why choose Jinja?
Because that is
Hmm.
yeah, because I'm from Python background, so I used Jinja extensively. So I have prior experience of using Jinja, and the major thing is that the API, the generated code is basically kind of like a template, right? You are trying to figure out, you have a base template on which you are building on. So that's why right now we are using the Jinja code to fill in stuffs using for on our base template based on the API requirements and all the parameters, everything that user selects. Jinja basically using the Jinja templating system, we generate the Dart code right now.
Yeah, the Python background. Yeah, I don't remember who wrote that one, but I do remember this one. I think I might have talked to that person. But this is
It's Mustache, also popularly known as Mustache language. Yeah.
yeah the Jinja one. I mean for me, I've used Jinja a while back, and I don't know, bad memories, but I do like some of the ideas that they have. So this is pretty interesting. I'm kind of want to focus a little bit more on the feedback, right? Now, has there been some people who kind of came back into you and said, like, "Why are you wasting your time with this? This has already been solved. Just use Postman," or has everything been really, really positive from the feedback?
No, some people came back. They said, why are you trying to solve it if I can do it using Postman?" But like I said earlier, I told you also why I'm building it. That's the one of the that is the reason that I give them. So there are tools, but we have to evolve. Right now, I'm attacking the problem from the user end. So people do it from enterprise end. I'm doing from user end. So my whole approach is a bit different. So that's why I'm trying to do it. Let's see. People have given a lot of good feedback. Also, the thing is that if you use API clients, you will see. Also, I'm trying to experiment with the UI also. So you can see that I've used my M3 spec. Trying to also put a new refreshing touch to the UI of APIs. Rest all the clients you'll use, they will look more or less the same. So that is also one of the objective to actually do something different. So with the same problem that exists, but let's try to attack it and solve it using a different way. So yeah.
Now, I do see looking at the code over here, you support Windows, Linux, and Mac. So this is a desktop only, or you're actually planning to support uh, mobile?
So right now, so the one of the reasons why we took Flutter was to actually support all the platforms. So we started off with desktop, and it also works for web. But in web also, in web there is some issues with APIs that if you run the code from client side, they will give the CORS issue if the CORS is not enabled. So that is one of the problems. So the usually web apps they rely on a backend framework to run all the APIs so that they don't have that issue. So right now, that's one of the reasons why we haven't published it on web, but it works on web. It's just that it gets the CORS issue for some of the APIs who have not enabled CORS anonymous origin. So that is one of the reasons what is holding us back from publishing it on the web. And but we do support desktop, and the end goal is actually first to figure out every feature on the desktop, and then definitely moving the UI into supporting the mobile clients as well. So one day we will definitely have all support for all platforms, and Flutter will definitely help us do that.
Yeah, I was exactly thinking about this issue that you probably will have a CORS problem because it's running in the browser. So
Yeah.
that's good that you already looked at this problem. Did you know that immediately having built this, or did you just try to test it on web and said, "What the heck? Oh yeah, that's right." What was the
When we built it, we actually switch between platforms. So sometimes we do it for Mac OS or for web or for yeah, Windows. We switch the platform sometimes while using our development to see how things are working. And in web, we saw that issue very early on while development. Yeah, so we are looking into it, and definitely that is one of the things that is stopping us from pushing from publishing it on the web.
Now, I'm kind of curious though because you were talking a little bit about the UI before. With this kind of tool, you have to be conscious of the features and also how you implement the features in the UI. What's your kind of typical process in terms of do you focus on like do you look at the feature list that you want to implement and then you choose one and then you need to design the UI and then you do the work, or you just kind of start working on the feature and then fix up the UI later on? What's your typical working style?
So we don't do it one feature at a time. So for a release, like we pick a bunch of features, and then we figure out the base UI that is required, and then we implement it. We don't do it one feature at a time. We are like that. Okay, this is the release that we are working on, and these are the set of features that we want to support. So we build upon that.
Okay, so you do multiple features at the same time.
And we get feedback from the user, like while developing we do some testing. We I have some friends, so they do the testing and they are like, okay, we they give feedbacks regarding the UI, so we incorporate them and then we move forward.
Okay. So how do you figure out which features you should be working on next? Is it just do you have like a poll or do you just choose based on feeling or how do you choose which features?
So first of all, it is number one is that we already have API development experience. So I've used all the API clients before, and there is certain set of base features that we know that we need to ship. So we know that, and then like like after the first release, we got community feedback on the features that they want. So we have also added them to the list. So that is how we are working at. We take some base features that okay, in this release we will do these base features, and we also incorporate all the community features that they want, because at the end of the day they are the end users. If they want something which can help others also, then we definitely incorporate those features to ship those features early to the community.
Now you're saying ship, right? Are you just git pushing and tagging or are you actually shipping out binaries through some kind of distribution?
Yeah, we are shipping binaries. Yeah.
Now, where how do you distribute your binaries?
So right now we distribute it. We use the bundlers, basically platform specific bundlers. So we have for Windows we have the exe file, and for Mac OS we have the basically .app file. Right now we have that. We think that we once we reach that stage when we know that okay, the product is like it is completely ready for Play Store releases, then we will go ahead and do the App Store and basically Play Store releases. For example, putting it because that also requires time. They take time to review and basically, and for also Microsoft App Store, they have some certain times and requirements. So right now we are not going into the distribution hassle as such through official Play Store and App Store stuff. Right now we are just providing binaries on our GitHub account, on our GitHub basically page, repository page.
Now, have you ever looked at the solution like Sparkle so that people can get an automatic update, or how are you letting people know that there's a new update?
So right now, in the first version, we don't have that feature right now. But going forward, we will have an app updated, like it will check whether or not a new tag, basically release tag, is available on GitHub. That is right now our basically the current solution that we are trying to implement. It will check for whether a GitHub tag for a new release is available. If it is, then it will just show a notification that a new release is available,
Okay, yeah, pretty cool.
because we don't have a code push feature right now. So that's one of the reasons. Yeah. So it will not update automatically.
Yeah, I mean, code push would be obviously fantastic, and there's so many people. Have you guys looked at adding in code push?
We will in future, we will, but right now our focus is first to ship features, more features, so that it is more users can actually benefit from it. If it benefit from it more and give us feedback as to if they like more features or if they like the existing features or not. So first right now, our basically, because we are just two people team, we cannot do a lot of things in every release. So right now our focus is not on code push, but to actually incorporate all the features and make it production ready right now. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have a set like feature list about what needs to be done before it's quote unquote production ready?
Yeah, we do maintain a list. Yeah.
Now, where can I find the list?
So it is not right now. It is still in modification stage. So right now we don't have it on the repo.
So, what are some of the features on the feature list that are still upcoming?
So like the Flutter code generation, that is one of the features. Now visualization for other MIME types. For example, you can directly view PDF in the in the API dash. You can the PDF APIs that send you PDF, you can directly view it. Then audio, video support for results like audio, video. So so supporting more and more MIME types. That is one of our features. And also for Flutter app generation, code generation, and how the users can actually go ahead and choose all the options to actually generate the specific Flutter code. Like I told you, discuss the JSON result, right? Like I discussed, whether to show it as a table or to show it as a tree view. So these kinds of things are right now on a roadmap. And also right now we only have REST API, so we have to also support WebSocket and basically GraphQL. So these are also there. These are like right now long term features like GraphQL. First we'll do WebSocket, then we'll do GraphQL. So these are also some of the base features which are there in other API clients. So we have to support these features and the existing specific to Flutter app developers, how they can benefit from it. So that is the current feature list that we are working on, and you will see those rolling out in the future releases. Once we have this pipeline stable, then we will also publish public roadmaps as to where we are heading. Because right now we are in very early stage, we are not publishing that kind of a roadmap, because we are also still figuring out what are the things we need to build.
For the feature list, right? Is there some features that people are asking for, but you're telling them, no, no, we're not going to do that? Is there some things that's really off the table?
No, not right now.
No, everything is possible.
Yeah, everything is possible.
Okay.
For basically, people have requested features like dark mode support right till now.
That's a huge one.
Yeah, that's a huge one. So we are shipping it in the next release. We are working on that part. So that's why. And then renaming API, basically renaming requests and all. We are working also on those features. So we are, our priority is to actually incorporate features which people are requesting right now, because they are the end users who feel the need that, okay, this thing is missing, wish you could give me this thing. So we are definitely we give a high weightage to people who actually go ahead and suggest features and so that we can incorporate in the API dash so that they can actually benefit from it.
Well, I mean, if you're going to support dark mode, then I'm guessing they want you to start supporting custom themes, right?
We will see that part right now. Right now, the focus is first with the. We go incrementally. We are not going to support everything at once. We will get the feedback because then because a lot of things in the theme is also uh, you have to actually there are also certain aspects of the theming where you have to test yourself that okay, for this theme, if this kind of theme is working or not for my basically for my UI. So there are things we need to test before we actually support those things. So right now our focus is on dark mode. Then we will take a step and go forward from there based on the feedback.
Yeah, I'm surprised dark mode's a little bit higher up, because people, especially programmers, they love dark, right?
Yes,
I
yes,
mean,
it
I
is
don't know
high.
that.
It is the highest priority right now.
I mean, the light mode doesn't burn your eyes right now.
No, I use a Mac, so it doesn't.
I use a Mac too, but my Mac is in dark mode, so
Okay, okay, no worries. I come from the light mode supporter
I
bench.
see. I always feel like people who use light mode are what we call masochists, like to hurt themselves.
No worries. We will ship dark mode in the next release, so you can try it out definitely.
Now, I'm also kind of curious about the name, right? So the name is called API Dash, right? Now, is Dash from Dash the bird for Flutter?
No,
No, no
no, it's
relation.
not. No, the relation. The thing is that the essence is basically, do you want to basically test and integrate APIs in a dash? That's why we are building API
Oh,
dash. It's
gotcha.
from fast. You want to do something fast with API.
You didn't feel that this is, maybe some kind of intrusion or could be a little bit.
So dash is not copyrighted thing. Anyone can use the word
I
dash.
don't know if it's copyrighted, but if you're using Flutter and Dash, those two things together, you usually always think about that the mascot, right?
But still, it is a feeling that okay, something you want to do something quiz. So that's why many people use Dash for also dashboard. So basically, results visualize results. So that is also one of the thing. So dashboard is also used for dashboards to visualize results. So we are also kind of giving people a way to visualize results like people do in a dashboard. So that is also one of the things. So right now, I don't think so. We are we have a lot of reason why we chose the name Dash rather than just the name of a Flutter mascot.
Uh, People use the word Dash short for dashboard.
Yeah, they do. You can Google it.
Maybe I learned something new. I never thought about that before.
Yeah.
No, you did talk about features of kind of competing or similar products as they have a test part to them. Are you also thinking to add the automated testing part to this tool?
We will, but right now it's not the priority. Yeah. Right now, the most priority thing is the dark mode support, then supporting API visualization, like I said, for various kinds of APIs, then Flutter code generation. So these are the priorities right now. That will come much later. It will come, but right now it will come much later.
So you talked about the feature list coming for the next version. Now, the next version is that it's going to have dark mode. What else is on it for the next version? So dark mode and what else?
So dark mode, then we are currently also it's not a user facing feature, but we are a bit revamping our riverpod usage, how we use riverpod. So we are working on that part, and also like right now persistence of APIs. So API requests that user creates, those the persistence is in Hive. So it's we will give the option to for the user to actually export the list of APIs that they are using and also import. So we are kind of giving we will work on giving users to a feature to export their current list of playground APIs. And so these are some of the features that will come right now.
Okay. No Hive support. Now, why choose Hive out of the different types of storage solutions?
Because I have used it before.
Oh, that's a good reason. That's a good reason.
Yeah, use things that you have used before in production apps. So I've used Hive in production apps, so that's why I stuck to it. Yeah.
Okay. I just thought maybe you'd look at something like SQLite or some more traditional type of
There
storage.
are more. There are like there are ISAR. There is Sembast. So a lot of alternatives are there. But, it's just that we chose Hive because we have used it. Right? We used before. Yeah, we have experience using it.
So why not use something like that if you have also experience using that?
No, no, experience using Hive. That's why we are
Oh,
using
sorry.
that.
I thought you were talking about SQLite for a
No,
second.
no, no.
I lost it.
Yeah,
It would be kind of cool too to somehow use as a sync, right? So if you can sync to maybe Dropbox or something or Google Drive, I think it's probably be the more popular one.
yeah. Also, why not sync to GitHub, GitHub repo? That is also your own GitHub private repo. So these are some of the features that we will be looking. Yeah, definitely. We have those things in mind. But right now, before we do the syncing part, we need to have some features, base features that are already implemented. So that's why it is not right now the priority.
I understand. Cool. I mean, I'm really liking this tool, and I think it's super interesting. And the fact that if you can get WebSocket support, that'd be quite nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else, like any other features that I think I would really be dying for. The code generation for sure is something that I love to use. We're talking about the paw, right? I definitely use the code generation one, and I got the API working with paw for something, and then I had to download. There is a Dart one, and then I managed to export the code. And yes, you're right. The code was not the most beautiful one. The code it's okay, and actually, I don't remember if it actually worked or not.
It will not work. I have used it also. It will also not work. It is very old. The also it is very old. The extension was written way back. So that is also one of the major problems. Yeah, I've used more or less I've used all the API clients. One of the reasons I felt the pain. That's why we started building it. Pain of Flutter developers. That was the major driving force. Nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what other kinds of protocols. Of course, HTTP, as we talked about, the WebSocket. I mean, what other kind of APIs do we have to deal with?
SOAP is also there.
GraphQL is another good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing else that really comes to my mind. I mean,
gRPC is also there.
gRPC. Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah. I forgot about gRPC.
Yeah, that's also there.
Yeah, yeah. I just never really use it. But yeah, you're right. gRPC is definitely another good one. So you plan to obviously support that one too, because that came up in your mind.
But when you list it priority wise, it will be like WebSocket and GraphQL will go first.
Before WebSocket or after you said?
No, no. Right now we are doing REST. Then it will be WebSocket, then GraphQL.
Okay. I'm curious about the WebSocket because that one is stateful basically, right? So you keep the connection open and you'll be getting heartbeats, right?
Yeah, it will be interesting. We don't know whether it will work right now because we haven't started it. But it will be. But we built the first version before starting up. So it will take. We will figure out stuff. No worries. Flutter is all about figuring out how to do stuff.
I mean, I think if you're going to build that feature, it would be nice to have a feature where you can send heartbeat messages and have that configurable. That would be really useful because so many WebSockets they require that heartbeat.
Okay.
So that's huge. Did you know that's obviously you know this one, right? And I hope you're going to build that in the code generation. That would be really nice. And I asked you in the questions, are you looking also to, because obviously the big one you support right now for the Dart code is HTTP library,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of people use the DO or DIO.
Yeah, Dio. So right now, so we do HTTP code generation because right now we use the package in the API dash. But when you go to code generation part, we will also ship Dio. So people who use Dio, they can simply have a drop down where they could choose that okay they want it for Dio package. So then it will correspondingly generate the Dio code. We will ship that part also. That's not a problem because it's a modular thing. So in code generation we have structured the, if you will look at the repository in the code generation part for Dart, we right now have a folder for http. um, for a basically file for http package, we will have the same thing for do, which will trigger the code generation for do package. So we will do that. We started off with http, but we will right now first we will do it for Flutter code generation, then we will also do it for do.
Now, here's a good question. Um, what about versioning, right? In terms of, because they may change the API for the DO or DIO. Your code may not work. I mean, are you going to also say, okay, generate the code for that, and they'll say, okay, use this one, use like this, like version 2.1, and I forgot how they denote, like,
Usually we will do it for the latest one. That's right now. We will do it for the latest HTTP package because our tests will be built to run against the latest one. So we will see whether it. Our plan is to support the latest version. So we will test it for the latest version. And right now we haven't looked into much into the versioning part, whether it will support DO version 4 or DO version 5. Our plan is to do it for the latest stable version of the package.
what about telling people how to import the package into their pub spec?
So we have the command, right? Flutter pub add. That command, we will tell people that you can use that command to import the package. Yeah, it will automatically add it to the dependency.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember. I Sometimes some packages are named differently, right? So that's why I was thinking that could be.
Yeah, so we will have that small code box at the top, which will say that you can do Flutter pub add the package name, and it will import that package. So that is one liner. It is very easy to implement thing. So right now yeah, we did not write it because right now we assume that people know about HTTP package because Flutter developers use it. So that's why we haven't written those things explicitly. Yeah, but once we do Flutter code generation basically, and also since it is also supported directly in the Dart pad, so that's why we don't write Flutter pub add because in Dart if you copy and paste the code generated directly in Dart pad, it will run it. Similarly for Flutter codes, whatever if we are using HTTP package, because if you can copy the Flutter code and directly run it on Dart pad, it will give them the result. So they can actually see that okay, whatever code is generated is actually also working on Dartpad, and they can use directly it in their project. So that's one of the major reasons why we used HTTP package also.
What about supporting code with different types of state management packages, though?
Right now we are not. Right now in the next release we are definitely not looking into that aspect right now. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just curious how deep you're going to go because you can get quite deep with this stuff, right?
with state management, it will be a bloodbath. It's not deep; it's a
It's a
bloodbath.
bloodbath. That's one way to say it. Yeah. The other thing too is like translations is another big one too.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there's so many ways you can go with this one. You're gonna have to start drawing a line.
That's why I told you there are so many features to build that we have to actually prioritize that. Okay, in this release, we are focusing on these features because the list is endless. We can do a lot. And especially with Flutter, you can actually do a lot. So that's why.
Well, that's why I said it. Is there something that you're definitely not gonna do? Something that you will do, and something that you're not yet sure about? Because I would start drawing lines about what you're not gonna do, and I think translations is something you probably don't want to get into.
Yes, yes. Not right now. We are not looking into translation right now. I told you all the initial features that,
Yeah,
yeah.
but your answer is not right now. Doesn't mean it won't happen, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it is an open source project. We are building a community. We will keep it alive. That's the whole thing. Not now. It can be 2 years down the line, or even 3 years down the line. But everything is possible. We are going to like build on the project.
Now, for people, there is people who are actually committing features to the project, right?
Yeah, we have it.
Now, how does that process usually work? Are they just do they throw an issue saying I want this, and then
Yeah, so that's the process. They have to people usually they work on existing issue, or they raise a issue. We have a Discord server, so they go there. We can discuss that. Okay, you how you can, if you want to implement a feature, how you can work on it, how you can get started. So we have a Discord server for actually interacting with the basically contributors. That okay, how they want to get started with contributing. We are also yeah, we are also working with people uh, in actually a lot of these contributors actually they it is like their first open source contribution experience. So we have met people who want to contribute, but it is their first open source contribution basically. So we also teach them github, how it works, and how they can go about contributing it. So what are the best practices to actually raise issues, and how to actually craft a new feature branch, send a pull request. So we have all those initiatives also running in parallel, where we are onboarding new contributors who want to contribute, but they don't know how to get started with it.
Oh, that's good. Do you also have some simple, easy issues that you kind of leave there for new contributors?
Right now, we haven't raised the easy issues in the GitHub, but we do have, like we said, the feature request list. Like for example, for very simple issue like not for visualization of SVG, like SVG result. So for that, it is like a plug and play contribution where people can actually use the Flutter SVG package to visual to detect basically to visualize the SVG results in the API dash itself. Because SVG is basically an XML that is right now displayed. So that is like a good first issue that people can pick on. So right now we haven't raised it in the GitHub, but once like after this release, we are planning to actually solidify that the features that we want the contribution for, like it is a good to have feature or a good first issue that they can actually start working on directly. So we are working on it. We just released like 7 days or 10 days back, so it is still in early stages. The repo is less than like a month old. So yeah, we are working on those things. So especially we will definitely have those things in place by the time the Hacktoberfest and other open source contribution basically hackathons come into the picture. So it will be around the later half of the year. So we will have a lot of good first issues by that time.
Now, if I decide that I want to have a feature, now should I start to just go ahead and create a GitHub issue for that? Is that like the how you keep track of the features?
Yes, yes, that's how we keep track. And the features that we are currently working on, we also mark it. Like for example, for dark mode, and yeah, it is marked that we are working on that features. Yeah. For example, the dark mode support and also the Linux distribution, we are working on those two issues right now. We have marked it that we are working on it. So these will be out in the next release.
Now, if I decide that I want to work on something, do I just assign it to myself, or do I need to?
You start a conversation on the GitHub issue itself, and from there we take it forward. Yeah. But right now, major thing right now is that project is also right now, since it was the first release, we are also right now a lot of structure is changing. So that's why right now it is very early. So that's why we don't have that contribution thing in place, because it is very super early. So project is rapidly evolving, the structure also. So that's why.
Well, it's good that you guys are actually helping beginners to get a board and actually start committing to open source, and that takes a lot of time, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. We have workshops, like it takes around we take around 3 hour workshops. So for an entire GitHub and how you go ahead and contribute. If you can look into the organization, we have this the project is under FOSS42 organization in GitHub. So we have before API dash we also built APIs. So a lot of we guided a lot of contributors to how to actually contribute to GitHub through those projects also.
Now, how many contributors have you had besides you and your co-founder?
In this project right now we have one more contributor, and earlier we have for earlier projects we have around 10 contributors also.
So only one other person, not a part of the team, has committed code to the.
Yeah, right now.
Okay, yeah, that's still. I mean, it's still something. Not everybody will ever get anybody to commit to their stuff, so that's still pretty cool. Were they beginner or were they in more experienced with Flutter?
Intermediate level, but we are also open to beginner, like I said, the things that but for beginners we guide them towards contribution. It's not like they can just do something in because we want them to know about the good practices and how they can actually uh, because GitHub, not everyone is that familiar with GitHub. So how to set up in their computer, how to not to directly commit to the main, but actually create a feature branch where they will work on it, then send a pull request. So it can be people can get a little odd also if they are doing it for the first time. So that's why we guide them. That's for any beginners, we guide them through the process.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm very excited this is happening. This is something that it's still a little bit too early for me to be using, but I like the idea, and I'm definitely sponsored for this one, and happy to see it happening. That's why I brought you into the show. So hopefully we have some more people who are interested in this project can take a look at it and maybe help make it a little bit stronger and faster, right?
Definitely, and we are looking forward to community feedback, and because our own driving force is actually uh, community. So like I said, my co-founder is also creator of Flutter Gems. So we have been doing a lot for the community for quite some time, and we want to build this product. And if the community actually benefits from it, that's more than anything that we can ask for. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. I mean, is there anything else that we should know about API Dash before we sign off? Because we're definitely a little bit over the time, but I know we also started late.
Right now, yeah. So just follow the project, so that you can stay tuned to the latest releases, latest new features that we are working on, and definitely dark mode is coming. So for for the dark mode enthusiast, we are definitely working on it. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, right now we are support, like I said, right now we are supporting REST APIs, but we will work on other supporting other protocols also. So yeah, a lot of things are going on. We are still super early, but we definitely thank the community to actually, they have given a lot of love to this project, that they have they liked it. And yeah, we are definitely working towards growing the project.
Awesome. Looking forward to this. Well, I just want to thank you so much for your time and for working on API Dash. Like I said, I hope this turns out well, and I'll be watching to see what's happening. So hopefully, this is something that can replace what I'm currently working with.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alan.
Hopefully, I have you again in the future.
Yeah, definitely.